Yesterday we had a look at upgrading a project to .NET 6 and C#10, and we used some features and found some issues. I was just actually finishing a blog post that is going to go live in a minute, sometime after this. Problem with C#10 implicit using, so we just talked about, this was yesterday's show. When we use implicit usings, you get all these using statements, global using statements added to your project by default, depending on the type of the project. If it's a class library, you get these ones. If it's a web project, you get these, and a worker project gets a different set. So I was just going to talk through some of the problems that we found yesterday around not having the project references to support these usings and then getting errors. And also finding it difficult to actually find out what these defaults are without having to go and look at the documentation, which I think is not great. I should probably stick a tweet and just to mention that I'm live now as well. So let's quickly do that. Talking about .NET 6 and C#10. Let's tweet that out. So if you don't know who I am Mohammed Rehan Said. People call me Rehan, and I'm a developer at Microsoft. I've worked here for about 3 years, and I initially started working on the Cortana app, and now I work on the Edge browser's new tab page. So if I open up Edge, yeah, my Windows 11 is doing something a bit strange at the moment. When I click on the start menu and type search to search for something, it just disappears. Not sure what that's all about. So I can just show you this guy. So this is what I currently work on. I build all of this, improving some of this older stuff, and we're adding new features. Hopefully they should hit production soon and be pretty interesting for people. News today, .NET News, we hit the .NET 6 release candidate 2. Visual Studio also got updated to RC2, so I've gone and updated that myself. I was just reading through this post. It looks like there's nothing massively new in here. It's just existing stuff that's been updated a bit more. So I'm gonna finish reading through that, and maybe we'll discuss some of those changes later on. There's also the ASP.NET Core .NET 6 release candidate 2 being released. So there's a few things in here. I haven't read this one at all yet. I actually have a really good resource on this repo, .NET 6 Improvements Megathread. It's in the .NET Boxed Templates repo, and it's all the things that I would update based on a .NET 6 upgrade. So it's a lot more than you think initially. I've gathered all the resources that I could find. So like enabling hot reload support requires you to add this line into your launch settings .json file, and then there's lots of other bits and pieces worth looking into. So if you're using like date time to represent a date, time to switch over to date only types, and if you're building a NuGet package, you can now embed a README in there. That feature was released before, but it was broken. So a lot going on here, and we're going to work through this list and make improvements to some of the project templates that actually this project represents. So for those who don't know, this is the .NET Box templates, and it contains a project template that you can use and install using .NET New. So you can just run this guy to install the templates, and then .NET New API or GraphQL or NuGet package or Orleans project, and then give it a name. There's also lots of other options. So if we look at the NuGet package one, here are all the options that you can specify, and you can set those from the command line and execute those, and hopefully get those get some more customized projects options set up for you. So let's move on. Since yesterday, I also managed to get an update on editor config, this project over here, to set the file scoped namespace declarations. So for those who don't know, that just means preferring this new C# 10 syntax instead of this. So the class is now indented, not indented at all actually. So just preferring this syntax makes it a lot cleaner, and there's less indenting going on, which means that there's less left and right tabbing and all that going on. And also when you're copying code, you just have to copy that as opposed to copying that and then unindenting it, copying it, and then re-indenting it again. So saves a bit of time. This is now released in a version 4, so you can check that out. There's a new editor config file there. Excuse me. So I thought I'd start today by just talking about another project that we can upgrade. So we have, if I go into templates, this is the actual .NET Box templates project. And we have folders in the source directory for all of the different templates. And one of the templates is actually the NuGet template. So I thought we'd have a look at this and upgrade this to .NET 6. So I can go in here, open folder in File Explorer. And there's a solution in here that we can look at. Should probably pull that as well to make sure we have the latest. Oh, I'm in the wrong branch. Cool. So here's our project, our NuGet package project, and just like yesterday, we're going to upgrade our package.json file, and I have the other project that I had open yesterday over here. So I'm just going to grab that, stick that in there for temporarily, and we're going to temporarily allow pre-release as well. And now see what opportunities we have to upgrade this. So first of all, this project has the option, because this is a project template, it's a bit different. And this is how you can choose what options you want in a project template. So you have these kind of condition statements. I'm just going to add one for .NET 6. .NET 6. And that's going to be if the user chooses the framework of .NET 6, we want to give them the target framework of .NET 6. And then the same for the .NET 6. Same for the test project. And we'll probably change the default as well to .NET 6. This is the development time default, so all this code goes away when the project is actually created from this template. So now that we have that, we've upgraded our project, we can just make sure that it builds, and we have like a really blank test in here just to, we'll run that just to make sure that it works. Cool. Just check the error list. There's nothing in there. I think that's this project upgraded. Easy as that, huh? Well, there are one or two other things that we can do here. So first of all, let's update that editor config file with the one that we updated to support C#10 features. So let's go in here and just head over to that project. And I know I just updated these two lines, so I'm just going to quickly grab that, stick that in there. Whoops. Oops, I can't copy and paste. What am I doing? Grab that, stick that in there, and I know I grabbed. So this is the actual setting that sets the namespace declarations to file scoped. So I'm just going to scroll down, stick that in there as well, as opposed to the whole file, because I have some conditional stuff going on in here, I think. Yeah, don't want to overwrite that. So let's have a look at our changes so far. Yeah, that's right. And it's added a new line at the end. And then let's update this class. We'll get a warning now, so then convert to file scoped. Looking a lot cleaner already. And we'll do the same there. What happens if I do using system in here? So that's complaining because it's unnecessary. Let's just make it necessary for a minute. Here's our date only type. So we don't have implicit usings turned on over here. And I'm wondering if we should do that by default in a class library project. I don't know if it's the default in here. So there's a section talking about this. So that's talking about global usings, and then you can also set using statements in XML like this, which seems crazy. I don't know why you'd want to do that. And then you can also enable implicit using statements. So this is what we looked at yesterday. So this looks like it's showing you how you can find out what the using statements are, which seems very difficult and unwieldy, having to go into the object directory to find out what your global using statements added are. File scope, namespace declaration. So that's just the setting we set just now. I think that's it. I think this project is upgraded. There is one other thing that we can do. So if we go over here to my .NET 6 improvements megathread. Oh, I forgot one thing. We need to update the project template JSON file. So this is a JSON file that represents a project template, and we need to give the user the choice to add a .NET 6 project, and we'll also change the default value to .NET 6. And do we need to do anything else here? .NET 5.0. I think that's it. So now our project is ready. We'll just create a quick branch here. create a PR for us. Now I'm not going to go ahead and complete this PR. I want the full .NET 6 version to be released, which is actually happening in I think 27 days, so almost a month. So this is an enhancement. It's a major change, and it's going to affect the NuGet package template for now. And we'll create that pull request, and we'll go through this list to see what else we can do. So update the target framework for your app. So we did that. We don't have any null reference errors. We're not using swashbuckle. We don't need to do that. That's ASP.NET Core stuff. That's ASP.NET Core stuff. So consider adding this. All enabled by default. So this is interesting. There's a new setting. If we go to directory.build.props and we look at analysis level, and there's a new setting called analysis mode. And this determines what level of code analysis you get on the project. So by default, I think you just get a basic set of rules, and you can opt in to having all rules enabled by default. And some of these rules are a bit aggressive, like it says here. You do get some rules which don't really make sense sometimes. So this is probably not something that you want to do all the time. So if I was to enable this, I would do this as a condition. I don't know if I should do that. Should I make this an extra optional property? So this would be, I don't know, analysis. What would I call this setting? Analysis mode equals this, I guess. And by default, it would be just default. So if I wanted to add this setting, I could do so. In my template, I could go over here, create a new parameter that somebody can set. And it has to be a choice parameter. So I'll just copy paste that. And where shall I stick it? Let's stick it near treat warnings as errors. So just above that. And we're going to get rid of all these choices over here. We'll stick some new ones in. Well, we want 2 choices. And we want this to be called analysis mode. And we'll just copy and paste some of the documentation here. That's a bit wordy, that. The code analysis level, the selection of rules to enable. I think that makes sense. and then the default is default. The default code analysis rules, the default minimum set of code analysis rules, and then we want our other setting, which is all enabled by default. Enables all code analysis rules by default. And then there was actually one more setting, all disabled by default. Disables all code analysis rules. And then we can go over here and we'll give some of these we'll give this setting a new name when it's shown in the IDE in Visual Studio. So typically we just want to add a space in there, right? And we want default. We want all enabled by default and all disabled by default. No more. We'll just stick some spaces in there. And we need to do the same thing on the CLI. So on the CLI, you get a different set of options to select how you want the option to appear. So like in the CLI, that would look something like -- analysis mode equals default. If I can spell, something like that. So that just sets that option up, and then finally I just document that in here to say we have that new option. So we'll grab the description, stick that in there. We'll grab the name. The default is default. And we will also stick all of this text in here. So there we go. We've got all the rules documented now in our markdown. So this is the file that appears on the documentation page over here, just above this. So just going to add another commit. Add analysis mode option to NuGet project template. We'll just check to make sure that that's all good. If the analysis mode is that, do that. Oh, we should fix that. We added another option. NuGet template. Here we are. If we select that we want the all disabled by default option, where is my window gone? All disabled by default. We should set that analysis mode here instead, like that. And then let's just make sure that all runs again still. If it's default, we'll just omit that altogether, so you won't get an analysis mode tag appearing here. And then finally, we should probably write a unit test for this, or a functional test. So what I do, I have this funky project down here where I can add tests, and this test over here runs .NET Restore, .NET Build, and .NET Test on the project, and just make sure that it's running successfully. And I wrote a NuGet package to help actually do this as well. It's called .NET New Test, and I'm going to add well, we don't need to test the default analysis mode because that's what this one does. So that just tests the default options from that are passed from the CLI. Analysis all. So this is where we say analysis mode equals, and we want to say all enabled by default, and we want another one for none, and we just want to say that here we're disabling all of them by default. Cool. So now the project is gonna, these tests can run, and we can actually test them here. Not this one. Where's it gone? Here it is. If we check our NuGet package templates, these are the tests, so it's not actually discovered them yet. So let's just build everything to make sure that the tests get discovered. This name just creates a folder under disk that under which the project is created from the project template, and then so this guy installs the templates. We're creating a new temporary directory, and then we create the template here inside that temporary directory. We run .NET Restore, .NET Build, and .NET Test. We have to be careful with .NET Test because we can't run it using the full .NET framework if you're not on Windows. So that's what that if statement's doing. And so we've got our new tests here. We can just run these two and make sure that our project still builds and still has the ability to run our tests. Took a second, that failed. Interesting. It's probably because of the same issue we had yesterday with running .NET Test on .NET 6. Oh, cannot access the file. Oh, that's interesting. I think that's a one-off. Let's run that again. Sometimes Visual Studio or something holds on to the files when run locally. And if you run that on the server, it's fine. I'm gonna commit that stuff. So let's just check our changes. So we got our tests, we got our analysis mode stuff, our new analysis mode settings that we've configured for our template. They all live in this template config folder, and then we've documented that as well. So git commit -m, and now so we'll push that up. Let's see what's next that we can add to this project. Let's go back to my cheat sheet. That's .NET. Oh, argument. Oh, can't wait to use that. The new argument null exception throw if null helper method. So the next thing is this embedded readmes. So you can embed your README file within the NuGet package now, and then on the NuGet site, it shows that under this README section. So this actually was released in .NET 5, I think, but it didn't work. So I actually have another repo where I tried to implement it and it totally failed. So let's have a look at what I did there. So package README file. So if I go back to my NuGet template, and in directory.build.props, I added this package README file. So that just tells you, we're just telling it where to look for the README file, which exists there. So this is our README. And the next thing we need to do is include the README file itself in the package. So that is just a matter of, where did I need to do that? I can't remember. Directory.build.props. Oh, I need to do it here. So I can grab that. So yeah, so it's added the README file in there as well. So the thing we have to be careful of now is that now that our README is included within the project itself, we can't refer to images like this using a relative path, which is a bit of a nightmare. If I remember correctly. So you have to do something else instead. What that thing was, I can't remember. I think you have to, I think I ended up using a full path instead. So what did I do? I used, like, I don't know, github.com/images/raw, whatever the URL is, all the way to the banner image. But that, you know, it's having a massive long path like that is not ideal. Or you can embed the image as well, I think. I'm not actually sure if that's possible. I'd have to test this out for real by, let's do it. Let's try that out. Oops, I clicked on the wrong thing. If we go to source, NuGet package template, We'll run .NET tool restore and .NET cake. This will build our template. This will build our NuGet package under this artifacts folder. So we'll get our NuGet, our nutcake file spat out over here. Let's see if that actually contains our README file. It does indeed. Okay. So next we can try pushing this nutcake to NuGet and seeing what happens. So if I sign into NuGet.org, and if I go to upload a package, I'm just going to upload it this old-fashioned way. And we'll just take that nutcake package. NuGet template is not available. Interesting. Somebody created one already. What can we do about that? So I suppose what I can do is install this template and create a new package. I could also do this on my other project that we were using yesterday. So serialog.enriches.span. Let's enable the same thing here. So let's go to this setting, paste that in, and also paste in this file over here, so that this file over here just embeds the README file in the project, in the NuGet package at the root, and it only applies when we're packing the project. So if we switch to that folder, and just check the README file for this project. We've got a relative path here. What else do we have? How do we turn on word wrap in Word in here? That would be really nice. I've never tried to do it. Oh. Is it going to help me? No, that's not very good. So I don't think there's any other images over there. Yeah, so that's the only, we do have this as well, the contributing guide. So I'd have to put in a full path there. So let's search for this. So there's no more currency. So I'd have to give in a full path there and a full path there for it to work. So let's do that really quick. It's not that project, it's this one. Let's go to our contributing guide. Where is our contributing guide? Here it is. So we'd have to put in a full path to that. I don't really like that. But there you go. And over here, we'd have to get the path to our image. copy image link. I think I can go to so stick that in there. So now I have full paths for everything in this README, and that should work now. Add embedded to NuGet template. Cool. So that's another setting that we've added. I think that's the NuGet package template upgraded fully now to .NET 6 C# 10 features. I don't think there's anything else I'd want to do. Oh, I forgot to add. Let's quickly just. The issue with this is, I wonder if you can embed the banner. Why don't I try doing that? I'm going to try doing that in here. I'm going to try to embed the banner image. Images, banner.png. We should probably Google this. Where'd my PR go? So this is on NuGet, the NuGet repo. So package README file. Let's see if anyone else has asked this question. So there's some not so great documentation here explaining how you can embed a README file. Yeah, that's all well and good, but how do you deal with the images? Here we go. That doesn't help me at all. If there are images, can I embed images? Let's ask the question. I want to embed a README.md file in my NuGet package using the new setting with my README contains images. How do I know what images will get displayed? Let's do this as numbered questions. Can I embed an image using this syntax? and then use the image in my README like so. Let's rename that to banner. Is there a list of domains where external images can be loaded from? Using images in an embedded README using let's ask that question and see where we get to. Oh, the formatting has not been great there. I think I just need to indent everything by 2. No, is it 4? There we go. Still doesn't look great. Oh, is it because I used there we go. Let's see if we get an answer to that question. For now, I'll stick to the long form content there. We'll just check in this change. We'll undo that. Oh, we already checked that in. Good. Close all the tabs. This guy, what did we not check in here? So add embedded README to NuGet plate. Just making sure we've got the latest. Commit that, push that up. You can see sometimes I use the command line and sometimes I use the CLI. I don't really have a preference. I try to use the CLI more. I didn't know how to use the CLI a while back, and I decided one day that I'd just go and use it and not use the UI at all for a while, and that's the only way to learn, I think. Just force yourself to do it. Cool. Let's go and hit one of the next projects, an ASP.NET Core project this time, and try and upgrade that. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to open up our API template. There's a lot of stuff to do here with regards to upgrading it. First things first, we need the same global.json file from the previous one. So I'm just going to grab that and stick that into there. So, this will get updated once the released version comes out, and we'll remove pre-release as well from there. And then we also need to update our editor config file. And now I don't know if we should do this. I'm not going to do that. So we could go in and change the setting to use file scoped namespaces, and then that would change every single file to look like that instead. But the issue with that is it's a nightmare to review a PR because every single file has changed. So I think that should be a separate PR and a separate step. So I'm going to stick with the current edit config file I have, make the changes, and then we'll switch to the new one in a separate PR. So if we go back to our project now, where was our tab? This guy. We have so many things to upgrade, and a lot of this is ASP.NET Core related, so plenty to do here. And we'll just go through this list and see if we can update this ASP.NET Core app. I think we'll do that in tomorrow's stream. We'll have a look at what we need to do to get that ball rolling. There's a lot more in that list. There's also other projects for Hot Chocolate, GraphQL server, and also Microsoft Orleans. So we'll check that out tomorrow and see if we can get that upgraded. So that's been me. You can catch me at rehansaid.com, and also like, subscribe. And you can always tweet me on Twitter if you have any questions or anything. So that will be me. Catch you tomorrow.